Bob, where and when did you first meet Jose Mourinho, and what was your first impression of him?
Well, I first met him when I got off a plane in Lisbon and was met by the president of Sporting Lisbon, together with a young interpreter. Stern-faced, good-looking chap, spoke quite good English, and was told by him that he was my interpreter as arranged by Sousa Sunta, who was the chairman of Sporting. And so he introduced himself to me because the president of Sporting couldn't speak English and I couldn't speak Portuguese. So he introduced himself to me, speaking the best English he could think of. Very shy, a bit nervous perhaps. But at the same time, he had an area of confidence about him.
When did it become apparent to you that he was going to be more than an interpreter for you?
Well, to be fair, not until the end. We spent 6 years together in Sporting Lisbon. Then we went to the big club in the north of Portugal, Porto, where Jose has just left and spent 2 admirable years. He was so good, he was so trustworthy. I respected him so much. I treasured him. And when I got the job in Barcelona, I asked him, would he like to come with me and do a similar job for me in Spain, because I knew he would pick up the Spanish language quickly, as he was obviously very adept in Portuguese, and there is a similarity. It's not the same, but there is a similarity. I got him a very good salary. I negotiated a very good interpreter's salary. He was the best paid interpreter in the world because he was my interpreter in Barcelona. He liked that very much. And he spent 2 years with me in Barcelona. So for 6 years, he stood beside me, very often behind me as my interpreter. And it wasn't until towards the end that I used to give him some coaching jobs, because he was a great student of the game, was Jose. Jose loved football, and Jose had a great knowledge about football. And he was bright, he was very alert, he saw things, and he was intelligent. He liked working with me. He was completely trustworthy. In fact, I said to him, listen, Jose, I don't understand what the Spanish are saying. I don't understand what the Portuguese players are saying. Not until later, anyway, when I picked up, a bit of a terminology in Spanish and in Portuguese football. And I remember saying this to him. So I want you to tell me exactly what everybody is saying in the dressing rooms, on the training ground, half-time and full-time. He never let me down, because there was a certain time when he could tell me everything that was being said. So I just understood, even though I couldn't speak those languages fluently at the time. I got better as the years went on, of course. But he looked after me in that sense. He protected me, dead straight. We had a great relationship. I was a bit of a father to him, because, I'm a few years older than Jose. He learned a lot from me, because I'll tell you what he did do. He listened, he looked, he memorized it, and he wrote it down. And he spent 6 years with me. So I wasn't really surprised when I finally said to him after 6 years, Jose, I'm now going home. I've been abroad for 10 years. I'm now packing in European football, and I'm going back to England, and maybe to retire. So what are you going to do, And by this time, I was giving him small coaching jobs. He's quite good. He needed to be on his own. He needed to be in charge. He needed to have extra confidence about himself.
But that's an amazing thing, Bob. I mean, you say it as though it's just a little task, like asking somebody to run an errand. For the translator to all of a sudden to be given coaching jobs, it's unbelievable.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's no doubt about that. That's rare.
I mean, can you put into perspective how rare it was for a translator to start coaching?
Extremely rare. It's like having a school teacher behind you, which he was. Jose was, came from education. He was a school teacher. He had a very small, minor Portuguese coaching qualification. He then later went on. He's very clever. He then went up to Largs up in Scotland. He got a Scottish like full badge coaching certificate. He knew what he wanted to do. I think he knew that he would want to stay in the game after I left, or whenever we separated and parted. I think that was in his head all the time, that maybe he could at some stage become a coach in his own light, you know, at his own level, and develop. And he did that. I mean, he when I left, he stayed on with Louis van Gaal. He got 2 more years of experience with Louis van Gaal. Saw another facet, saw another personality, saw another way of operating, I guess, saw another way of training, saw another way of coaching, saw another way of communication with players. And he stuck two together, and he's turned out to be an amazing guy, really, because he went back home like I did. He went back to Portugal, took on a small job, small club in the middle of the country, Lira, I should say, and did all right. He then went to, a lot of people don't know this, he then got a job in Benfica, and it didn't work out for him in Benfica. And there were reasons for that, of course, and Jose would tell you a whole story about that. But it didn't work out for him, so he left Benfica, and then he was without a job and for a number of weeks, I think, and suddenly Porto offered him a job, and the president of Porto, Pinto da Costa, would remember Jose, because I spent 2.5 years at Porto, and Jose was our communicator between myself and the president of Porto Football Club, Pinto da Costa, who again couldn't speak English. And I was learning how to speak Portuguese anyway, so any summit meeting that I had with the president of Porto was conducted through Jose. And the president of Porto would remember that. He would remember that Jose was intelligent, got along with me very well, was able to explain things cleverly and, you know, in detail and simply, and took a chance on Jose, I think. It would be a gamble to take Jose up to Porto as the principal coach, not as an assistant, as the number one coach, vying with, you know, the biggest club in Portugal. I think Benfica is probably the biggest club in Portugal, but Porto is the biggest club in the north. And there was a big fight between Benfica and Porto, always. It's Man United and Liverpool, or it's Arsenal and Tottenham, and, you know, it's Newcastle Sun, it's that sort of thing, you know. And he went to Porto on a gamble, I think, by the president. But he's had the most two remarkable seasons any coach could ever have. And you have to give him credit. Now, he might be lucky, he's clever, and if you're clever, you need a bit of luck. And you can't take away the fact that he won 2 championships with Porto, as I did, you know, with him when he was assisting me. And then he won the Portuguese Cup. And lo and behold, he won the UEFA Cup in his first year, so he did the treble. And then, blow me, he won the Champions League with Porto and beat Monaco in the final, who stood out Chelsea. I mean, it's incredible success, and you have to hand it to Jose. You can't take that away. I said, I'm proud of you. I'm delighted for you. You've been brilliant. Now, 1 year ago, when we had a little conversation, and he was getting offers, I said to him, listen, don't leave Porto. Give Porto at least 1 more year. Don't go for the big prize. Don't go for the big club. I don't think you're ready for that yet. Stay at Porto for another year. Have another good year behind you. Learn about football. Learn about coaching. Learn to deal with players. You've had a marvellous year. Do it again. And if you do it again, you do it well, that might be the better time for you to leave. And that's what he did. He did have a better year. He won the Champions League. Fantastic how he did it. It's an incredible success. Success that I never had. So, you know, the students become the professor here and done very well. Now, I have to tell you this. He's coming into a different football. He's not going to go with a big club like it was in Portugal, going to the smaller clubs, going to Gil Vicente, going to Belenenses, going to Amadora. You know, he's going to go to Manchester United, Arsenal, Tottenham, Charlton, Newcastle, Middlesbrough. Not easy games. He's coming into a blind situation in a way but he's got a lot of self-confidence. He's got a lot of self-belief. Some might say he's arrogant. He's got a touch of it. Won't do him any harm. He's a confident young chap. I've told you, I repeat, bright, alert, intelligent. He's learned a lot. He's in the big field, and it's going to be wonderful to see how he operates. He's had the most wonderful opportunity because he's gone to the Millionaires' Row, and he's been able to go there and persuade Chelsea to spend an awful lot of money. Some are maybe overpriced, but when you have a lot of money, that's what happens. So he's brought in, you know, two very good players from, naturally from Porto, players that he knows, he can trust.
When you look at him, you see his style. Can you see the direct influences from the two guys he learnt the most from? Can you see things of yourself and Louis van Gaal?
Well, I think I taught him about football, how to build a team, and how to play, and how to be tactically adept and bright. You learn that. You learn that over 6 years. You don't learn that over 1 year. You learn that for 6 years. And he learned with 3 different clubs. 2 big clubs in Portugal, and, you know, the big club, although Real Madrid, arguably, those two, well, not arguably, those 2 are the biggest clubs in Spain. One's in Spain, one's in Catalonia. So he learned that. And he would learn, I guess, with Louis, authority, decisiveness, ruthlessness, handling players. I hope he learned that from me as well. But he got 2 molds. Got one from me, and he got another mold from Louis. He was 2 years with Louis, 6 years with me, 8 years, and he's manufactured himself and produced himself into, at the moment, a very bright coach. Now, he is now in the big league. He has been in a smaller league, where Porto, as the big club, would go into the smaller cities and would win 2-0, and you knew that score before you went there. You don't know that score now in the first division. I couldn't tell you that when we go to Charlton or we go to Tottenham, and Man United, Alex can't tell you that if he comes to Newcastle, what the score will be. You can predict certain scores in Portuguese football. In England, every score is unpredictable. You can't predict it, because the top club can get done by the bottom club in the Premiership. Happens all the time. Didn't Wolverhampton last year, for instance, beat Manchester United? For sure. So that can happen to him. So he's going into a different league, but he's battle-hardened. He's going in very confidently on 2 great years. People are looking at him as a little Messiah, I don't know, a big Messiah, Jesus Christ, whatever. But it's going to be interesting, and I'm going to watch every game and every result that he plays for. I'm going to be intrigued by it, and I wish him good luck, because he's a protege of mine, and I want proteges of mine to be clever, to be good, and to be successful.
Is he also going into a bigger league in terms of the type of players he's now going to have to handle? He's now got world superstars.
Yeah. I mean, he had a certain number of high-intensified players, high-profile players in Porto, but not like he's got at Chelsea. I think he said he wanted 21, or maybe 22, or maybe 23 squad players. But everyone's a top player. Everyone. And I was reading just the other day the number of players who didn't play in the last match. There were 7 top players, all internationals, who didn't play. Now, Arsene Wenger's handled that. Alex has handled that. Gerald Houllier has handled that. To some degree, I've handled that in Newcastle. You know, I'm going to handle it now. You know, we're going to have a lot of good players at Newcastle this season who won't start, who won't be in the team. Now, Jose's got that. Not double fold, but he's certainly got, he'll have 7 players who can get into anybody else's first team, but might not play on the opening Saturday. Now, he's going to have that to handle. He's young, early 40s, and 2 years at a big club. No more. No more. He hasn't got many more than that. But I repeat, very interesting to see how we can handle it.
What sort of bloke is he? What's he like? We don't know him. I mean, he's come out with some quite amazing statements. When asked about, why him, he said, "I'm not an ordinary manager. I'm very special." What is he like as a bloke?
Oh, he's a good guy. I mean, I enjoyed his company. We stuck together for 6 years. Now, I don't suffer fools. So if he'd been anything less than what he's looking to be right now, he wouldn't have stayed me with 6 years, because I would have abandoned him. But I didn't abandon him. I took him with me. I wanted him behind me.
Is he arrogant, or is there warmth there?
No. I think, what is arrogance? It can be kind of self-confidence, self-belief, sure of yourself. I know what I'm doing. I'm going to do it that way. No, that's not arrogance. That's being decisive. And he saw football, at half times and at full times and after matches. We would sit together, Jose and I would go through games. He'd say one or two things, and I would look at him and I'd say to myself, "That's clever." And you know what? He's right. So I did like to discuss football with him. He had his own opinion. He didn't say to me the things that I would have liked him to have said to me. He said the things which were of true value, that were honest, and that were forthright, and what he felt. And so in that sense, he is a very good guy. And because he's like that, he has more than a great chance of succeeding, because they have bought well. Their new signs are good players. He's kept, naturally, a big, strong nucleus from last year as well. Lampards and Joe Coles and, Terry and Babariaro and Bridges and all the others, of course. Good Johnson, And he has probably got the deepest and best, I'm saying probably because I don't know, and the season will tell us that, but he has probably got the best and deepest quality squad in the country.
What's he got to do this season to be judged a success?
I personally don't think he has to win it. It's his first year. He's a stranger into the city, all right? He doesn't know the back alleys and so forth. He doesn't know the clubs he's going to go to. He needs a backup, and I think if I may say so, Stevie Clark is still there, Mick McGigan is still there, and I told Jose about those two guys. They don't want your job. Trust them. They will back you up. You need those two guys. He's brought his own team from Portugal, but he needs an English backup. He's got it. Two good guys. And I think they'll do him proud. But he needs a good start. What a match! What an opening match! But it's not won on the first Saturday. It's won over a long season. He's got a tremendous squad. He will rotate. I'm sure about that. He will be able to handle it. I hope. It's just going to be very interesting to see how it all unfurls.
I can't quite get my head around this. Hang on. What year did you meet him? What was the year? Sporting Lisbon.
I went to Sporting Lisbon in the 92-93 season.
Right.
93-94 season.
Right. So 93-94, now 94-95. So a guy you met 11 years ago who was sent to the airport to meet you because he could translate.
School teacher, translator.
Has won everything possible at domestic level, is now going to be in direct opposition to you, and is in charge of the wealthiest football club in the world.
Yes.
Could you ever have dreamt that?
Not at all, and neither would Jose. I think Jose would. And I'll tell you one interesting fact. You would have thought, wouldn't you, that Chelsea Football Club at some stage would have rang me up and said, look, in confidence, we're thinking about signing on Jose Mourinho. Bobby, what do you think? Let me tell you something. They didn't.
Why?
Well, I don't know. I don't know why they didn't ask me. They didn't. So I'm just saying they didn't. So Chelsea Football Club never rang me up and said, in comes Bobby, can you tell me something about Jose Mourinho? Because I tell you what, to let Ranieri go after what he did, and the way the public loved him, and to oost him out and bring somebody in, is the risk, is the gamble. They would have got from me some answers. They didn't need my answers.
Do you think perhaps he'd already given his answers, won the treble, won the Champions League, said, there you go?
Well, of course.
Is the pressure on him now, though?
There's always pressure on him, yes, of course. I think Chelsea will expect big things. But I'm saying to you is that, in my opinion, he doesn't have to win the league to be a success. He has to be very close, and the chances are that he might as well. I'm not saying that they won't. He might. But if he doesn't, it's not fairly on Jose's part. He's coming in blind into a strong league that he's never been in before. You know, it's going to be difficult, you know, going to Charlton, going down to Portsmouth, really, you know, coming to Newcastle, apart from going to Arsenal and Tottenham and Man United and Liverpool. But I repeat, it's going to be very interesting.
Do you think because of his phenomenal rise has happened so quickly, and because he has a certain confidence bordering on arrogance, that there are perhaps some already that wouldn't be upset if he failed?
Well, I don't know. That's a very investigated question. I'm not into that. I don't want the boy to fail, you know.
No.
I want him to come to Chelsea and do well. And I just feel that in his first year, I don't think he'll want to win it. And Chelsea will be desperate to win it. And they have plowed a lot of money into it. And that sort of money, you think, hey, we're buying success here, so don't fail. But I think to be fair to Jose, he needs to look at it. You know, maybe 1 year he needs to look at it. And in his second year, you know, or third year, he's on a 4-year contract. You know, is it expecting too much for Chelsea to expect Jose to bring them the championship in the first year? It's possible, but it's asking a lot of the boy. And he shouldn't be judged over one season. He should be judged on the buys he's made, how he plays his football, where are they at the end of the season. You know, have they played very nice football? Have they been unlucky? Hey, listen, by the end of the season, who knows? He might win the Champions League. He might. I don't know. He has a chance. He has a chance with that squad.
What sort of story would it be if he went ahead and either won the Premiership or the Champions League with Chelsea in his first year?
Well, it would be historical. He'd go down in history. He's already gone down in history, I think, because I don't think any coach in the world, not even the most experienced coach, like Alex or myself or Arsenal or anybody like that, you know, over the last 2 years have done what he's done. Won the league in the respective country that he works in, won the cup in the respective country that he works in, won the UEFA Cup in his first year, and won the Champions League in the second year. It's an incredible run of success. Can't beat that. Can't beat what he's done.
Could carry it on, though.
Well, I repeat, I keep saying it's going to be interesting. I mean, I'm going to enjoy Newcastle United, but I'm just going to watch my interpreter, who's turned out to be a fantastic coach, be employed at Chelsea, running a big club, big London club, where they've had a huge injection of money and finance and bought staggeringly good players. You know, he's paid a lot of money for Ferreira, he paid a lot of money for Cavallo, he's paid a huge amount of money for Drogba, huge amount of money. Kesman is a lot of money, reasonable buy. I think the Czech goalkeeper would not be Jose's. I think that's come in, you know, from another source, I guess. Probably thought they needed another second goalkeeper, which they do at Chelsea. But he got some wonderful players now. Can he handle it? Can he manage it? Can he get into play? Can he rotate? Can he keep everybody happy? Can he win home and away? Can he win the league?
A lot of questions.